Hey guys, what's up? It's Isaac. Today we're going to be talking about my 2013 Can-Am 800R that I recently just picked up off of Facebook. Now, it's a great ATV. It has a couple problems. So I'm going to kind of walk over the problems with you guys and kind of the things I'm going to fix and the things I'm going to show you to look for when you're buying a Can-Am. Now, yes, I do have the taillights. I just took them off because I was cleaning them and they were pretty full of mud. Now, this Can-Am, it had, the guy for some reason cut out the sides. He must have been hitting in the woods somewhere with it. Make sure all your drive shafts are all nice and tight and they're nice and they move, okay? Always check your tires, see how much tread they got. These are pretty wore down, especially this front right tire, and then see if there's any wobble in each tire. And obviously check if your headlights and your taillights all work. My main headlights, my high beam lights do not work on this ATV. It's a switch air, which I will be fixing. And then another thing to look at, which is a big thing, which I did not look at and I noticed after. Alright, so we're under the ATV and the rear end. And if you guys look at this main shaft, you always want to check out the back shaft and the front shaft, especially if it's four-wheel drive ATV. Now you want to check your U-joints. Now we're back here by the main U-joint, which connects the rear diff. Now it shouldn't be able to do this, and it shouldn't have that much play in it. See how I can rattle this back and forth and shake that and it clearly moves between? That means my yoke that's in the middle is bad, which it's replaceable. Now my front one, on the other hand, my front one is perfectly fine. Now my front one is perfectly fine. It's nice and tight. There's not a lot of play. But from the back end, there's a lot of play. So I'm gonna be removing this and showing you guys how to do that as well. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you guys how to put the drive shaft back in the four-wheeler. Now what I did is I took the old drive shaft I had and I put new yokes in it. They're OEM parts from Can-Am. I wouldn't recommend buying the, well, I would recommend buying the Can-Am ones because I obviously did. You can get cheaper ones on Amazon. You just type in the year of the four-wheeler and stuff and you can find it really easy. I just went with OEM just because I didn't want to have to pull it apart again. And they were expensive, but I know they're gonna fit. I know everything's gonna work. So they were 60 bucks a piece, which is a lot. A whole new drive shaft was 330, and I'm like, I can fix it. So I'm gonna show you guys the install, see how that goes. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments below. Alright guys, so now I'm going to show you guys how to change your gear oil or your diff oil, whichever you would prefer. Now you're going to need a higher grade. There's a front and a rear for the Can-Ams. You have your Can-Am 75 to 140 weight, and you have your 75 to 90 weight, okay? Now whichever one's heavier goes in the front. Since the 140 is a heavier weight oil, that goes in the rear end, and the lighter weight goes in the front. Now, I didn't ask the guy at Can-Am, but I would say what the hell put 140 in front and back, but I could totally be wrong. So I'm gonna do it 90 in front, 140 in back, just because that's what they recommend. But I don't think I think it's just because the rear tires are always engaged and the front tires are not always in four-wheel drive. So what I did is I tipped the four-wheeler up. Now what I did is I tipped the four-wheeler up because you have your skid plate under here. And if you drain it out with this drain on the right side here, it's just all gonna work its way to the front. Now make sure you put something below. I'm gonna get a bucket, that way I can drain the rest of it out.